everyone, and welcome back to another storytime video. And today I am going to retell a story that I told 5 years ago. And I didn't realize it until I was about to narrate this video, or narrate this story for you guys. But 5 years ago, I told this story originally with Borderlands gameplay in the background as well. But the story today is how I lost a tooth and never found it. Now, when I last told this story 5 years ago, I was dealing with a sinus infection, and it was hard for me to tell that story and because of it. And so I feel like retelling it today and being able to properly tell the story and fixing that error, I guess you could call it an error, but regardless, let's jump in. So back when I was in the second grade, I mentioned 2 weeks ago when up until high school, I went to a private school. So I was at the private school in second grade. Duh. I mean, you guys can guess that. But we had kind of marble textured floor where it just looked like little white and black rocks. You know, it looked very 60s or 70s. But it's just hard for me to describe. I had a tough time describing it back then, too, from what I remember. But I lost that. I lost a tooth in the second grade, and I could never find it. I spent part of the day trying to find it in that classroom with one of my classmates, but it was just nowhere to be found. And it just, it was crazy. Well, crazy in the sense that, well, I guess that I couldn't find it. It was crazy that I couldn't find it because you would think that you would be able to find a tooth on it wasn't tile floor, it was just one solid slab. I mean, all the classrooms were just one solid slab of floor, if that makes sense. Just very weird, hard to describe, but it's just very tough. But we tried to find it whenever we didn't have to do any work. And I remember giving up at some point because we weren't going to be able to find the tooth. And I remember my mom picked me up from school that day, and I remember telling her that I lost a tooth and that I was disappointed. I mean, since I was in the second grade and I wasn't really concerned with a whole bunch of stuff in the second grade, I don't know if that ruined my day or not, but it wouldn't have surprised me if it did, to be honest. But I remember asking her if the tooth fairy would give me money for the tooth, because I remember getting a quarter or two as a kid from the tooth fairy, and I think I was a little bit upset that because I was unsure if the tooth fairy was going to give me money for my tooth. And my mom said yes, that I would get money and that the tooth fairy knew that I had lost a tooth. Now, kids, don't listen to this part. I have no idea if my mom asked the teacher who was the principal. Yeah, in the second grade, my teacher was the principal because the private school was kind of small, or they couldn't get teachers that year. I don't know. But I know the private school was kind of small, but I didn't know if they weren't able to get teachers that year. I don't know. I just didn't know enough to ask questions like that. Anyway, so I don't know if she asked the principal if I had lost a tooth that day, but okay, kids, you can listen again. I do remember getting a quarter or two, or maybe even $1, because I guess the tooth fairy thought that, or I guess she felt bad that I couldn't find the tooth. Because, I don't know, I dabble in things that are a little bit morbid. I don't go out of my way to see morbid things, and part of the reason why I'm not a doctor is because I wouldn't be able to handle certain things. Not that I'm squeamish or anything, but I'd be able to handle certain things, but not other things, and that's part of the reason why I'm not a doctor. Anyway, I kind of like to look at teeth, or I like to kind of look at my teeth when I was a kid after I lost them, and just kind of look at the bloody canal at the top, or where the blood had kind of pooled up at the top of the tooth, and kind of look at the tooth and play with it a little bit. I'm weird, okay? And as a kid, I was even weirder. And I think that's part of the reason why I was really disappointed that I lost the tooth. But I remember my mom telling me that there was no point in looking for it the next day because they would come and sweep the room when I was gone, and when school wasn't later on that night when school wasn't happening. I don't know if they swept or not. I didn't ask. I just took my mom's word for it and just went, well, guess I'm not gonna find it. And you know, it's just a funny little story to tell from my childhood that I do like to tell every so often, and it was on my mind recently, so I thought that I would retell the story. And so I hope you guys enjoyed it. And so yes, guys, I do believe that will do it for this storytime video. And so next storytime video, I will see you all later. Goodbye, guys! Thank you all for watching.